All right, first up, some breaking news are coming in. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has spoken about the Indian economy as well as the trade deal. He says political stability, political predictability restored investor confidence in the country. This was in an interview to PTI. He also said stronger manufacturing services, MSMEs enable India to negotiate trade pacts from a position of strength, referring to the recent trade pacts with EU and, of course, the United States. The government will do whatever it takes to support the country's defense forces and strengthen them, is what the Prime Minister said in this interview, and says the government has a duty to modernize the defense sector in line with current realities, referring to the jump in the defense budget. So the Prime Minister speaking on the state of the economy and also investor confidence in the country. Let's go across to Himanshu Shekhar for more. And Himanshu, give us more details of what the Prime Minister said in this interview.
Well, I think a very strong defense of the FTA that India has signed with around 38 countries. And perhaps this is the first time Prime Minister Modi has very categorically asserted that it is the political stability and predictability that has existed under his leadership in India, which has created that enabling environment where there is economic stability, international investors have confidence in India, and this in turn has strengthened India's position, and India has managed to leverage this while negotiating free trade agreements. A very strong defense, especially in the context of the questions that opposition parties have been repeatedly raising about especially the India-US trade deal. And importantly, Prime Minister has made very specific references, Gagi, to 5 sectors where India stands to gain. One, he has said textiles. The second is leather, chemicals, handicraft, gems and jewelry. And he has said that these free trade agreements are designed to expand market access for medium, small and micro enterprises in India. So very strong defense. And he has said that it is because of the political stability, there is a stable governance system in India. This has made the world look at India. The international investors are looking at India because there is also economic stability. And this in turn has empowered the government to stitch very, very important free trade agreements across different parts of the world. And there are around 38 countries with which India has stitched free trade agreements. So I think a very, very strong and categorical defense to all the free trade agreements that we have been reporting in recent months. Gagi.
That's right, Himanshu, especially given the kind of attack that has been taking place by Rahul Gandhi, leader of opposition in Lok Sabha. Also, the Prime Minister saying that there was economic mismanagement during the UPA years and saying that the government is committed to reform. Thanks so much for joining us with those details. So, staying with politics over the trade deal. In fact, Himanshu, if you could talk about that, the fact that Rahul Gandhi has been attacking, we're going to tell our viewers what he said further, but the Prime Minister there talking about mismanagement back in the UPA years and also about how they are committed to reforms.
Well, remember when Rahul Gandhi got up to take part in the budget debate in Lok Sabha, he had alleged that before the India-US trade deal, the average tariff on Indian exports was 3% in the US, which has now gone up to 18%. He had also alleged that the overall imports from the US is now $46 billion. But considering the fact that India has committed to buy products worth $500 billion from the US in next 5 years, the annual import bill could go up from $46 billion to $146 billion. And Rahul Gandhi especially has been very vocal in criticizing the government for allegedly making concessions, especially in the textile sector. And that actually had sparked a video war yesterday when Piyush Goyal and then Agriculture Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan issuing video statements to actually question and counter the narrative that Rahul Gandhi is trying to raise the politics on the trade deal. So I think after Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal and Agriculture Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan, this time finally Prime Minister Modi himself has come forward and he has presented the facts and also explained the reason why India has been so successful in leveraging its potential, the fact that there has been political governance which is very stable, there is economic stability, and the international investors are now confident about India. There was one question that was also raised by Piyush Goyal and Shivraj Singh Chauhan, that was with regard to the cotton issue. Remember, Rahul Gandhi has been saying that Bangladesh has got bigger concessions vis-a-vis India, and this will hurt India's textile interest. But we do know that government has in fact presented facts to question Rahul Gandhi's claim, saying that even during UPA regime, the duty on cotton was reduced to zero by the Manmohan Singh government. So I think there is a political war of words happening now. But I think finally Prime Minister has stepped in and has given a very, very important categorical clarification as to why India has been so successful in stitching up FTAs with 38 countries. Gagi.
All right, returning to our top story, and the Prime Minister speaking about the trade deals that his government has made with 38 countries, free trade agreements. In fact, saying that this was negotiated from a position of strength. And also in that same interview, he spoke about the economic mismanagement of the UPA era economics. He said that it left India unable to negotiate from a position of confidence. Remember, this comes at the back of constant attacks by leader of opposition in Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, who's been very critical of the India-US trade deal, raising several questions about whether farmers will remain protected, and also about cotton, and whether the Bangladesh managed to get a better deal and India will suffer because of that. The Prime Minister now stepping in on this issue of the trade deal and saying that it's a political predictability has been created in the country, restoring the confidence of investors. Let's go across to Himanshu now for more. And Himanshu, as the Prime Minister spoke about the achievements of the government in terms of these free trade agreements and the agreement with the US, saying we negotiated from a position of strength, he also hit out at the previous UPA government, saying the economic mismanagement of those years left India very weak.
That's right, and this is a point that Prime Minister Modi has made in the past as well. Remember, the Prime Minister Modi has said this many times, that when he took over as Prime Minister of India, the Indian economy was among the 5 most fragile economies. But today, we have seen the growth in the Indian economy, and the Indian economy is now very, very strongly placed and is now 4th largest in the world. So this is a claim that Prime Minister Modi has made in the past also. He's also reiterated this. And importantly, on capex also, he has presented important facts in this interview. And he has said that from 2013 onwards, there have been a manifold increase in capex, that is capital expenditure, the investment that government makes, especially in the infrastructure sector. And that has now increased to more than 12 lakh crores. And that is exactly the central point of Prime Minister's argument, that it is largely because of the economic policies that he has pursued, the economic policies his government has pursued, and the fact that there have been political stability has actually enabled Prime Minister Modi to put in place a very stable system of governance, a very credible economic system which was not there when UPA was in power, when India was among the 5 most fragile economies. And I remember we used to repeatedly report about policy paralysis, projects were pending. So now Prime Minister is saying that because the situation has changed, the economy is back on rails very strongly. This has leveraged India's negotiating position with very, very important economies in different parts of the world. And that's why he says that we have been able to stitch free trade agreements with 38 countries, largely because of a stable political government. In India, the governance system is strong. This has brought the international investors back to India, and this is the reason why world's developed economies, one after the other, are stitching free trade agreements with India. And as far as Rahul Gandhi's allegation also, he has mentioned textile among the specific sectors where India's MSMEs, the small, medium and micro enterprises, stand to get a more better market access in the international market. And he has said that apart from textile, leather, chemicals, handicraft, gems, and several other sectors are those specific sectors where India's small and micro enterprises stand to gain in international market because of these free trade agreements. So a very summary rejection of perhaps the opposition's charges about the FTA, and a strong rebuttal at the same time, and a strong defense of the FTAs that India has signed with 38 countries. Gagi.